Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I think I did it. I think right before I said hello to everybody that I could see. If I can't see you out here texting or chatting with us, then good morning to you as well. It is, what is today? It's September 9th. I never know what day it is ever. I mean, I know it's Monday, but the date actually kind of gets me all the time because things just go way too fast. So I never know exactly what date of the month it is. But anyway, good morning, Rob hopped in. Good morning, everybody. You'll see the dogs. We have, we're trying a new thing. So Eric just took them out one last potty break before we started. And then we filled up their Kong bones with pepperonis. So hopefully that will keep them happy for a little bit. So good morning, Allie. Good morning, Grateful Drifter. Good morning, Jay. Anybody else I may have missed? Hope Easton is watching. Good morning. Hi, Tracy. I think I said hi to you already, but I'll say it twice. Also want to say hi to Susan Forsgren. She's not with us this morning. She has her own, excuse me, appointment this morning. And so she actually texted me earlier that she won't be able to watch today, but she'll watch it later on. She just has an appointment. So she's very sad that she'll be missing it. It's okay. It's okay. It's not a problem. Nobody has to join us every Monday. In fact, I always question why you do, but I'm so grateful that you do. So we're going to get started because, as Rosemary mentioned, and I think our first comment of the day, I want to go to our initial topic, but it also has to do with the word of the day.
Oh, now come on, Amy, tell me what's the word.
Okay, so the word is fall. Oh my goodness. Happy fall, y'all. I actually have all my stuff. I was just getting ready to talk about that early on, and then Eric did the show. And it was funny because I've been trying to help out a little bit and send some topics and things ahead of time. And I guess I forgot word of the day. And so Eric just threw in fall, and I was like, oh no, that was going to be what we started with. So that's what we're starting with. So happy fall, y'all. I don't know if you consider it officially fall, but it is and has always been my favorite time of year. In Virginia, you have just, well, first of all, lots of states have gorgeous falls, but I'm from Virginia originally. So the most gorgeous falls, right? The skyline, just everything changing, the leaves changing, those gorgeous autumn colors, absolutely gorgeous. The leaves falling down. As a little kid, I'd have to go rake the leaves, and then the smell of the burning leaves. I know that's probably not even what you're supposed to do. It's probably not even healthy to breathe in, but I could always tell. My nose has always been like extra fantastic. I can smell anything, which is sometimes not a good thing. But I love those big piles of leaves burning. So I am pretending that it is full-fledged fall here, even though it's Florida. Our fall looks a little bit different, but I did, guys, I climbed up to the top cabinet and I pulled down my next holiday season's worth of mugs. So these are old. You probably saw them last year this time, but I love them so much. The reason I like this one is look. Lefties love it because we can see the words ourselves. So we're not just showing it to you, but we get to see it ourselves. So autumn leaves and pumpkins, please. Yes. I threw a little pumpkin up here. I threw a little bit of fall decorations. Honestly, those were downstairs and they're probably going to go back downstairs once we're finished here. But I felt like we couldn't talk about fall without that. And it's also the smells of fall. I love that. The apples and the Honeycrisp apples and the cinnamon and all that is really, really good. So have you decorated for fall? So let's talk about the real estate part of it. Let's be legit. Have you put out any fall decorations? Yes, guilty as charged. So what about you guys? Yep. Kim says, the thing I love most about Connecticut, besides my family, is the fall. It's just beautiful. I can only imagine. I love it when people send those pictures of where they live, especially like it was Jim, right? That was sending us the pictures of the snow when he was building his beautiful Florida home. So we love it when we get those pictures from clients all over. Sydney, happy fall. Finished decorating for Halloween yesterday. Seriously? Oh my gosh. Well, you were definitely ahead of the ball game there, Sydney. We have... Okay, so I bought this, I was at, where was I, Home Goods, I'm guessing? It must have been something like that, or Kirkland. No, I guess it was Home Goods. Anyway, I don't usually decorate for Halloween. I did when the kids were little, but to me, we don't really do a lot of Halloween decorating. But I did get, and I actually was going to send it to Miss Michelle, who kind of took over and opened up her own dance studio when I closed mine. She kind of transitioned my students over to her studio and kind of kept the same curriculum for the most part and the same core values. And I saw this skeleton ballerina and it is so cool. And I was like, oh, I need to send that to Michelle, because originally I was planning on going back to Virginia for a quick visit for my mom's 85th birthday coming up here very soon. I was going to do a quick jaunt to Virginia, go see my son, go see my mom and my siblings, rest of my family. But because of Eric's, kind of health situation, we've canceled that trip. So now I know that I can. Eric's here, by the way. But yeah, I had to cancel that. So now I'm like, well, I guess maybe I'll just keep that little, skeleton ballerina, because I don't know if I could ship it and have it stay safe. Anyway, all good. So loving all the fall comments. We are so excited. Pam, living my whole life in New Hampshire, fall is my favorite. One thing I miss living in Florida. I am with you, Pam. I tell everybody that's the exact same thing I feel, is that I love where I live. I love Florida, but I miss the 4 beautiful, distinct seasons. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm happy about it. Ron and Rosemary, pumpkin spice creamery and our fall wreath on our front door. Yes, love it. I have to tell you, okay, so true story, and then I promise we're going to get on with real estate and our brewing topics. And by the way, good morning, everybody that has popped in that I have not yet said hello to. Ben, I think, Deborah, Edwin, anybody else I may have missed. It's not intentional. We're glad you're here. So
Rose from Sao Paulo.
Rose from where?
Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Wow. Well, hello, Rose. Thanks for joining us. We're so happy you're here with us this morning. I don't know if it's morning in Brazil, but
yes, it is.
Is it? Okay, but morning for us here, and for you too, I guess. So here, cheers to everyone for our fall. All right, sipping my coffee. It's legit coffee. Okay. All right. So what was I going to say, though? I had a really good thing I was going to say. It's okay. It's all right. You get me off my train of thought. Oh, this is what it was. All right. So true story, and then we're moving on. So I have, the last time I went to the grocery store, okay, let's be honest. The last time I Instacarted groceries, I got my coffee creamer. So I got my typical hazelnut, because that's kind of what I like the most. But I got the pumpkin spice, and I got the gingerbread. And I put all of the coffee creamers, in the refrigerator. And I had not opened the gingerbread yet. I was going to save that, because it's just me, and occasionally the girls will come over and we'll make coffee or something, but it's really just me that drinks the coffee. So I had finished the hazelnut and I went through the pumpkin spice, and I was like, oh, pumpkin spice is so good. And then I was like, okay, I'm ready for the gingerbread. The other night, was it last night or 2 nights ago? I was like, I kind of wanted like a dessert coffee, right? You ever get that crazy craving where it's like, I don't want sweets, but I wouldn't mind my warm coffee with a little sweet, boost to it. So I was like, okay, I'll have the gingerbread. So Eric's standing in the kitchen. I pour my coffee and I open up the gingerbread creamer and it's already opened. And I'm like, I did not open it, did I? So I'm going through that mental thing because we know how old we are. So I'm like, I know I didn't open the gingerbread. I'm having this conversation. So the next morning, Eric's like, well, don't drink it. I'm like, well, no, I won't drink it until I figure out if I opened it. But maybe one of the girls did. So the next morning I texted my girls and was like, did either of you by chance? Did I just imagine that we opened it? And Elizabeth said, yes, she opened it. So I feel better. So now I have my gingerbread coffee this morning. So anyway, I know that's jumping ahead to Christmas, but whatever. All right. So we have a lot to talk about today. As always, I've been forgetting to ask this over the past few coffee times, mostly because we've had some other things that kind of took priority. But don't forget, if you've got questions, to please submit them. Don't forget you put the capital Q with the colon is super helpful for me to search them. But if you've got questions about anything, happy to help. Probably going to be real estate related, but if not, if it's something else, try to help there too. We are just so grateful for you guys. All right, so let's get ourselves going. What do you think, dear? You on board? What's brewing? Okay, so we have our 3 brewing topics today. So grab your cup of coffee and let's chat. We have got a health update. We have an addendum nightmare. So that's real estate related. And flood zones, because this seems to be a topic that we have a lot of questions about. So we're going to talk about those 3 topics. But first, I know you're like, Amy, get off the screen. We want to know how Eric is. So,
no, they're not.
Well, sure they do, honey. They love you. All right, so let's talk about Eric's health update, shall we? There he is. He's here.
I don't remember what's on the screen, but I decorated for Halloween too because I look like a skeleton.
You do not look
No,
like
I
a
do.
skeleton.
You know, you get. Well, we had a while before I even went to the hospital. But you know, when I look at now, I'm like, oh my god, I'm just like, eh. Anyway, so
You
boo.
look great, honey.
I forget what things I put on the screen.
Still really tired.
Yes, true. Although I slept like I even have I don't think
You
see
still have them?
I still have the little marks on my arm. I slept like a rock last night, first time, and I woke up going, "Whoa, that's amazing." I got to tilt my camera down a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, while he's tilting the camera, so like true story, I've been sleeping up here in the media room for quite a bit, mostly because Eric needs to sleep, and if I'm in the bed with him and the dogs are in the bed, it's just he's not able to get comfortable or be comfortable.
Yeah, because the dog shouldn't be in the bed anyway, but that's a mistake we made years ago.
That's a mistake we made, and we're suckers for it now.
Forever.
But yeah, I mean, Eric needs to sleep. Part of his recovery is this rest and recuperation, and it's bad enough that he has a hard time sleeping. The last thing we want is for him to get to sleep, and then the dogs ruin it, or the cat goes scratching at the door. So
it was good last night, though. I slept.
It did. I'll let you get on to the next one too. But this morning I came downstairs and I like squeaked the door open. It was 7:40 actually. 7:40. I squeaked the bedroom door open because I thought he usually when I open the door he's awake. He's just laying in there, just kind of resting. But he was like sleeping out. Like I could hear him breathing. I was like, oh, I shut that door back again. I was like, all right, I'm going to give him until 8 o'clock. And you know what? If whatever doesn't get done by 8, you know.
We had the show ready to go. So
it was good. Anyway, 2 weeks. So
I got a liver guy and a blood guy to go to this week. And we're still waiting to hear from Mayo Clinic because in America, it may shock all of you, but in America, you have to let the insurance company gets to decide first if you're sick enough for them to pay for your treatment. And so that's the first medical decision that gets made is by an accountant. So I'm waiting for the accountant to decide if I can actually get treated at the Mayo Clinic. And then the last thing is bucket list. I came with a little bucket list of things to put on my list of each member of my immediate family, something to do with them. So I'm going to take Amy to the Bahamas. Like this is when I'm done. Amy to the Bahamas, take Forrest over to Liverpool to see a match that was already on our schedule. Like we wanted to do that. Take Allie to see the National Shakespeare Company in D.C., take my daughter Elizabeth. Mostly it's about the steak dinner because we had a great steak dinner, which was like in middle school. We went just her and me. But go to New York and have a great steak dinner and go to a Broadway show, and then to play golf with my son Dawson in Las Vegas. So that's my new bucket list. I'm going to post it on the wall to help me get through. Which enough about me. Let's move on. But thank you as always. Thank you for great comments and thoughts and prayers and the whole thing. Yeah, I appreciate it. So
So we are going away. So yeah, he's got the 2 appointments today, and we're hoping that this week will be a big week in getting us to that next step. Hopefully we'll get the notification from the insurance company, and then we can get something on the schedule with the Mayo Clinic to do the pre-transplant testing, boot camp, whatever you want to call it. So, but yes, thank you. There's a lot of people who, again, the random, text messages and emails, and it's amazing. So thank you. We will keep you updated, but at the moment we're just trucking along. We're going to keep chatting with you. We're going to do as much business as usual as we can, albeit maybe a slightly altered schedule, but we can get it done. So anyway, all right, so let's go to our second brewing topic, which is addendum nightmare. Okay. All right. So remember, you know this, right? Almost everything that we talk about comes from real, true life stories, situations, and scenarios. It's important because this is how you learn. And at my heart, I think I've always been a teacher. When I was a dance teacher, it's about sharing that and then teaching you how things work. So you have the contract of the home, all right? And a traditional as-is purchase agreement contract for the home. If you include an addendum to the contract for whatever reason, maybe that addendum is that you have decided that you are going to now give the seller or the buyer, the seller is going to give the buyer a concession in lieu of inspection requests. Maybe it is inspection requests. Maybe, there really could be anything. Maybe it's that, we're going to add a home warranty that the seller is going to pay for. There could be any number of things that you do during the actual contract period. But when you do an addendum and both parties sign and both parties agree, that is now attached to the contract. It is now a part of that original contract. So without going into too terribly much detail, we have one of my listings is under contract and they had the inspection. They had a 10-day inspection period. Now, candidly, again, buyer, seller, like I have both hats, and I will tell you that, the default being like a 14-day, 15-day inspection period is too long. Very few sellers are going to want to take their home off the market for 2 weeks for you to decide whether or not you want to back out. Because remember, during that safety period, that inspection window, it should be inspection related, but we know that it's not. Sometimes you can just have a change of heart. Maybe something else happens and you decide you want to back out of the contract. During that safety window is the only time period that your earnest money deposit is protected. So if you decide that you're going to cancel, it will come back to you if you sign that agreement. Okay. So we are like literally, she sends me, what time was it? 9:42? No. What time did she send the addendum that she wants to extend it another 8 days?
I mean,
I don't know.
The first wrong one was at 8:41.
Right. So
PM.
PM, right. So there's the other agent on the other side, a buyer agent, lovely person. There's nothing to do with that, except that we have 10 days. It is now day 10. It is the evening of day 10. It is past technical business hours, but legally it goes till midnight, right? Because it's still the day, unless you dictate a specific time, which we might do from now on. She sent the addendum that she wants to extend it another 8 days. And I'm like, where did this even come from? Like, we don't need to extend another 8 days. The item that you have already requested be done, we've already decided and told you, yes, we're going to address. We're happy to sign an addendum stating that we're going to address that. So the long and short of it is that from that period of time, from 8 something until literally almost midnight.
No, it was midnight.
It was midnight, yes. So this is my text message in the green. It said, we are not getting the plumber there. By the way, she kept adding things. Like, we had agreed on one specific thing, and then she kept adding things and adding things and adding things. I'm like, no, we've agreed, we're not going to get the plumber there. The inspection period is over in 30 minutes. It's now 11:30 p.m. Meanwhile, my seller works at 4 a.m. She has got to get some sleep. And I said, please stay awake because we need to get this addendum signed. Just hang in there. You lay in bed if you want, like, doze and just, put your ringer on high, and I'll call you when it's time for you to sign. Or anyway, so my seller's awake. I'm awake. I had already gone to bed, and I'm laying in bed, and then I'm hopping up and going to the computer and back in bed, and she's texting. And I told her, I said, it is 30 minutes until the end of this inspection period. Please send the addendum referencing the roof and the electrical as we had discussed and agreed to, or a release and cancellation of this contract, because anything else that she's now throwing into the mix can be addressed later. And then she has the nerve to say, I sent it over her way, but I'm not sure if she's still awake. I'm like, okay, so the buyer's not awake, but her agent is. I'm awake. The seller is awake. All of us are awake to try to get this remedied. Anyway, it was an absolute, that may not seem nearly as dramatic and frustrating as it actually was, but what she did not understand is that, and candidly, I'm going to be completely honest here, and I told the agent as much, because the agent's like, yeah, I understand. I'm like, well, then you need to convey that to your client so that your client understands that there is a section in the contract that will confirm that the buyer can have a final walkthrough. And if they need to reinspect one of those inspection items that we have agreed to, it is already covered in the body of the contract. However, to this day, she has not signed the addendum.
Right.
So it's no longer a part of it. And I don't know what's going to happen later on.
Yeah. So she sent the wrong addendum. So
yes,
Amy
she sent the wrong addendum.
And so Amy then tried to get the addendum for her. Because you're nice. You're not going to say it. I'll say it. She knows what she's doing. And
yeah, she told me as much. She's like, I don't know how to write this.
She said, at my brokerage, we just extend the inspection period, like, forever until everything's fixed the way we want it. It's like, what? But we're trying to explain to her, there's a section in the standard contract, section 12B, that says the buyer can reinspect to ensure that everything in the contract has been performed, has been done. So if she signed this addendum saying that they would, it was lighting over a kitchen thing and
check the roof,
which
they
already scheduled to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the roof's under warranty.
Yeah.
So we keep saying, if she signs that addendum,
it's a part of the contract.
Then it's part of the contract, and then she has the right to do it.
Yeah.
She still hasn't done it. No. But Amy's a good person. Our seller is a great person, and they're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
But if it comes time and she's like, well, I want to have a reinspection.
Like that's not part of the contract.
That's not part of the contract.
You never
See,
signed
that's
the
so sad,
addendum.
so
It's it's just frustrating. And again, you know, I know that
I was yelling from across the room, going, "It's in the contract."
It was just so incredibly frustrating because it sounded like the agent knew what I was trying to say, or maybe she didn't, or maybe she was learning it for the first time. And all of that is fine. We have all been new and 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 section re-inspected. But literally at one point, and by the way, and I want to follow up, this is not necessarily about this scenario, but it is about something that I think people question a lot with inspection periods. So if there is a 7-day, an 8-day, a 9-day, a 10-day, are we okay?
It's just we're echoing and skipping, but
Echoing and skipping? Echo.
Yeah,
Echo.
I don't know.
No. Technical difficulties.
We have good speed. I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll keep going, and we apologize if there's any technical
She
difficulties.
said we missed a lot of that.
Oh no.
Just Deb said we missed a lot of it because it was skipping.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what to do. We'll have to move the set down.
Okay. We'll just change locations for next week, maybe.
That's for Boo saying Allie saying it's
Okay, good. All right. Well,
let me do something real quick.
all right, Eric's going to do something real quick. All right. So we hear there's technical
So
difficulties.
to recap, if you missed a
Shocker.
lot of that,
Okay.
if you missed a lot of that, basically we had another agent that was putting addendums in to the very last minute, and at the end of a 10-day inspection period, and it was making us insane. Call up Tracy's question, because I think that brings us to the other point, which is, can you go right to the last minute? Well, yeah, you can submit anything anytime you want. But you see her question?
I have to go. I'll have to scroll all the way down.
You can do Q. I mean, it's...
She
did a Q.
She did a Q.
And then
Okay.
Sydney had a question too. Where should be Q?
I got it. Yeah. Okay. So this is what I was just getting ready to say before. So Tracy's question is, can addendums be presented even up until the last minute? So addendums can be presented, like, it depends on what the addendum is, right? So if everyone is clear to close, you really shouldn't be adding addendums at that point, because now we're all cleared to close. Those closing disclosures are all prepped and ready. But can you add an addendum after your inspection period? Sure. If you decide at the last minute you want the seller maybe to provide a home warranty, so we need to have that documented, yes. But we're talking kind of specifically about the inspection period, that little nugget of time that we contractually agree to, buyer, seller, that they have the right to do an inspection on the home. And during that time frame, I'm going to turn this off because it changes we good still?
Yeah, we're okay.
Okay. So during that inspection window is when you can get the home inspected. And if you have any issues, you can navigate that, right? You can say, okay, you know what? House looks good, but there's a couple things we'd really like the seller to address. And the seller could say, sure, we'll address those. The seller can say, nope, not addressing them. Or the seller can say, you know what? We've already moved out of the house. We don't even live there anymore. Can we give you a credit of like $1,500 and then you just take care of that yourself? So yes, there's different ways to handle it. But here's the problem. Sometimes people think that during that 7, 8, 9, 10 day, whatever we decide of the inspection period, that you have to have the inspection itself remedied. And that is not the case. So your 10 days, like for instance, if we're like, hey, you know what? We saw there was this leak over here. We just want to get that taken care of. So we do an addendum stating that the seller will have that taken care of. We usually ask that it's done by a licensed professional, and that we would like pictures, receipts, work orders, invoices, things like that, just to ensure that the work was done. But that could be done 5 days before closing. That doesn't, the inspection item does not have to be completed and remedied within that inspection window of the 7, 8, 9, 10 days that we put in the contract. And a lot of people get confused with that, which is why I think that other realtor was like, well, we're just going to extend it 8 days because that'll give somebody time to get out there and fix it, and then we can re-inspect it. I'm like, no, because the inspection window, if you extend it, and by the way, if you extend it, in my opinion, it would be done for a specific item, because that's the thing. If you extend an inspection period, you've opened a whole window of another opportunity for them to just change their mind or have buyer's remorse, right? So if you're like, okay, we'll extend the inspection period, which by the way, we have done. We've had clients, it was like maybe a mold issue in the AC unit. And so it took a little bit more time to get the AC people out there, do the mold testing, talk to the remediation company, things like that. But it was for that specific item. So we would say we would like to extend the inspection period solely for the AC unit. Like we're not going to come back and say that crack in that tile over there is the reason we're not moving forward. So anyway, inspection periods.
To your point, if you open it up to that, then they could simply say, they could decide they don't want the house anymore. They could just say, well, we're canceling because of the AC unit.
Right.
They can say whatever they want. So if you open it up, you're opening it up forever. Here's the thing that we were trying to get across to this agent. You can submit an addendum up until the last minute, but that addendum is not accepted by the seller automatically. You don't just say, we want this, and it means the seller has to agree. The seller can disagree. So we're trying to explain to this agent, you have two options. Get her to sign the addendum, or send us a release and cancellation, or just go forward without the addendum. So you had three options, because the seller didn't have to stay awake. It was not reasonable to expect. The seller is required to act in good faith. Okay, nothing was going to hold up ever in front of the real estate board or in court if you're sending an addendum at 11:59 p.m. for a thing that ends at 12, that the seller didn't sign it, and then they go, well, they should have signed it. Well, no. You should have sent that in 10 hours before that to give them time to review it and decide if they want to do it. Yeah. You should have done it 3 days before that. It's silly. It was ridiculous. So you can, the inspection period is your safety period for your right to cancel. So if you can send an addendum to the last minute, but you better be ready to send a release and cancellation if it's a deal breaker.
Yes. Yeah. And I think one of my biggest frustrations during that time frame is that literally when we had the whole emergency, like everything was like, whoa, he's in the hospital and we're doing all this stuff. I had two clients that were in that same situation we were at the end of our inspection period. But we were a day before the end of the inspection period, and I was frantic trying to get that addendum done so that the seller had time to review and they could discuss and determine what they wanted to do. That's the courteous thing to do, is you give them enough time to think about it and remedy it, because sometimes they even counter back on inspection stuff. So anyway, make sure that when you're doing this, you understand the inspection period, the safety period, and that and just kind of that's what that period is for. But it does not mean that any repair requests need to be completed within that inspection period. It just means that we have to have it documented that the seller does plan to do so. Okay.
And then Sydney had a question.
Yep, I'm popping that up.
And you're gonna cough.
And I got a cough. All right, Sydney, Amy, Amy, can you and have ever represented a seller and a buyer at the same time the home is unorthodox or allowed? Yes. So Sydney, absolutely, that is allowed. That is a transaction broker. So you have the buyer and the seller. And candidly, that happens a lot with me because I have a lot of buyers, because we do all of these different forms of marketing. There are many, many, many times when I have a buyer that's looking for a house that I might have listed by one of my clients. So that definitely happens. My previous home, not this one that we're in, but the one that we lived in before, one of my clients purchased it, but it was a legit thing. I remember when I was having my phone conversation, like I have with all of you, if you're looking to buy, and she's checking off these things on her list. And I'm like, that's my house. That's my house. That's my house. And we knew we were going to be selling it at some point. And then she said, and this was the best part, she's like, but here's the thing, Amy, we really can't move for another few months. And I went, ding, ding, ding. I was like, that was us. That was like perfectly our house, because we could not stay anywhere temporarily with our menagerie. So that worked out well. So is it unorthodox? No, absolutely not. It just means there has to be complete transparency. And I think that you guys and my clients that know me, I'm honest, I'm fair. And in fact, what I do is if I have a home that is listed, I will have my listing agreement. Well, of course, things are a little bit different now, but you have your listing agreement, commission in there, and then you have a buyer agent commission in there. So you would think that if I am both the listing and the buying agent, that I would get that full amount. But the reality is, for me, I actually reduce it a little bit. It's not the full both amounts. It's a little bit less than that. And that's just because I think that's fair. And I know a lot of people are like, are you crazy? I'm like, no, I'm fair. I mean, I feel like that's fair because keep in mind that buyer is still going to buy a home. So it's not fair for me to not have a commission on my buyer just because it is also my listing, because I could go sell that buyer another house somewhere else. But my goal is to find them the right house. And so if the right house for my client happens to be, my sellers that are selling, then it's all about transparency. And it also, honestly, in my opinion, because we're honest, it makes things easier because I know what the sellers have to have and I know what the buyers can do. And so it's a much easier way to get things remedied, in my opinion. And I don't know that that would be true maybe with everybody, because I think people's business tactics may be a little bit different. But for me, not a problem. It's not unethical at all. It's actually makes it a lot easier. And
reducing the commission on the seller side, because they're losing their exclusive representation. So it's only fair to compensate them a little bit. So I think that's good.
Yeah. Oh, I hear a little puppy out there.
Ron Cheryl has a question.
Ron Cheryl has a question. Okay. Concerning the recent changes in how the buyer-seller agents are paid, how has that impacted the buyer's agent dealing with the new home build? With the new home build, it does not. So that's what's really good about this, especially this area. If you are purchasing new construction, that commission for the buyer's agent is still coming from the builder. So go new construction. No, but that is true. So if you are purchasing a new construction home from one of these home builders, the buyer broker agreement is not in play there because you have it, you're purchasing it from the builder. So it's just kind of a little exclusive, like they love having that realtor representation, and they know that they can entice people to come to new construction because they're able to offer things that your exclusive buyer broker agreement may not have stated if you were purchasing resale. But I will tell you, if I have a client that's doing, that's looking maybe for resale, we have to have that buyer agent agreement in place before we show homes, unfortunately. That is now a law. So even though my heart would say, sure, I'll show you the home, I legally can't. And I think, I'm a rule follower. So good question, though. Okay, so let's go to our third topic, which is flood zones. All right, so flood zones. This is a question I get all the time. Just out with some clients over these past few days, and flood zones came up again. And I think it's really important because obviously it's Florida, right? We all know about Florida. We know that we've got water all around us. We know that there are a tremendous amount of lakes and ponds. And how does that affect your homeowner's insurance? And people are typically worried about it because just homeowner's insurance in general might be a little bit more expensive here because it's Florida, because we're prone to those hurricanes. But how does that then affect the requirement from the insurance company to have flood insurance? So this is what's interesting. I will tell you, I don't even know how many hundreds and hundreds of homes that I have sold. I think only a small handful have ever had to have flood insurance, and it wasn't even for the whole lot. It was because this back corner of their home backed up to a section that FEMA determined was flood zone AE. So let's go to the little graphic that Eric did. Let me pull it up right here. So most of the flood zones that you're going to see here are X. Okay, X is good. Okay, so for those of you that are like, oh, I saw that and I didn't know what it means. Flood zone means you're not in a flood zone. You are not required to have additional flood insurance. Now, can you still purchase that? Of course. The insurance company's not going to push back on you, getting additional coverage. Absolutely. You can get flood insurance, but it's not really necessary. Our previous home, we backed up to a pond. And when we had Hurricane Irma, the water came up tremendously. In fact, it was very scary. I remember walking, taking the dog out. The dog still has to go outside in the middle of a hurricane. And the pond water was coming up and up and up the embankment. It was up and it was very close to the sidewalk, which was kind of back behind our home around the pond, but it never came up. But I never had to have flood insurance. It never hit our house. So a lot of this is the way the land is graded, the way FEMA determines these flood zones and how they determine it. Now, I will say whenever you go to close on a home, you are always going to hear, especially if you're in flood zone X, they are going to say, currently FEMA has not determined that you are in a flood zone. But if FEMA ever comes back and determines that you are, at that time, you'll be required to purchase flood insurance. And that's important to know. So the high risk zones typically start with the letter A or V. You can look this up online, and it's very easy to kind of find out and determine what each of those means. And it usually means something like, you know, a 1 in a 500 year flood or something. So it's really about the probability of that, like flooding. AE is the most common of those high risk rankings here. And that's what I was telling you a minute ago, my clients. But I mean, I've had clients that have had beautiful lakefront, I mean, on the lake, not just a pond, on the lake. And they've even had riparian rights. So their property goes out into the water, still did not have to have flood insurance. It was still not considered a flood zone. So it is really important to note that. But that is something that if you ever have a question about, if we're looking at specific properties, easy enough for me to find out, easy enough for your realtor to find out if you happen to be in another area, but you're still curious about flood zones. Did you have something to say, dear?
Nope.
Everything going okay?
I closed my computer because we have a lot of signals going on, so I thought maybe one less upload, download. But that means I can't see if someone asks a question. So okay.
Well, let me see what's going on here then.
Just type your Q. And
yeah. So let me go back up to here and we'll do this. So let's see. And look at Maggie over there. Actually that was it. That was cool. that was all the questions. So if you have any more, let us know. Otherwise, we're gonna keep on. Babies. We're gonna keep moving on. Yep, we're gonna go to babies. Who wants to have a baby update? You want to have a baby update? Let's have a baby. Love those little babbles. And by the way, Easton and Elsie are both babbling quite a bit. Very, very, very cute.
And or screeching like pterodactyls.
Yes, and or screeching like pterodactyls. Yes, for some reason, Easton has decided that that's his way of communicating. And, Elsie has joined in. She's now learned that she also can hit that pitch. So they have a contest of who can go the highest and the loudest. I'm just kidding. But they are absolutely adorable. The girls popped over the other day. I think Hong had to go run some errands and Steele was going to go do something. And so the girls came over with the babies and just hung out for a couple hours. And honestly, it was perfect. It was honestly what we needed. I mean, I will say Eric was not feeling super great. So he kind of slept a little bit while they were there, but he was here and he was able to see the babies and I got to smooch on the babies and they're just adorable. We love them so much. And we're so grateful that they live close by that we get to do those little impromptu, just kind of come over and hang out a little bit. But they're growing like crazy. They're smart as a whip. We're just perfectly blissfully happy that they're doing so well and that mom and dad are doing so well. So yay for them. I love them. I'll just stare at them all day. But look at them. I mean, look at them. They are so stinking adorable. I cannot stand it. And do you guys remember, let's think back together because we're all a family, right? Do you remember when we were like, they're going to have the babies like any day now? And everyone was like, what, how's it going? And you guys are just amazing. So I think back and I think they think back too, like, wow, that happened. Like we had the baby. And I know that, having had 4 kids myself, I think that all the time when I look at my kids and now my kids have kids, it's all kind of surreal. Yeah, a little bit surreal. Anyway, so let's go back. So I got all of that. I know I had a couple more things. I was going to, again, if you have any questions, I think somebody popped one up. I'm not sure if they did or not, but I'm going to move on. Wait a minute, Garite. Let's see, Garite. Grandson Joey is at the shouting out stage and blowing raspberries. Yay. Oh my goodness. I can't wait. You know what I can't wait for? Okay, now this is a term that I believe it was Dawson. Girls, Elizabeth and Allie, Forrest, I think this was Dawson's phrase. He used to call them saucy kisses. Was it Dawson? Yeah. So when babies, they're not really kissing. They're just all slobbery and drooly and they kiss you. Dawson used to call those saucy kisses. And anyway, so I can't wait for that. I can't wait to get my first little baby kiss on my cheek. But that's good. Garrett says his grandson is shouting out and blowing raspberries. So very good. We're so happy. Everybody's happy and healthy there, Garrett. We're happy about that. Perfect. Okay. So I want to head on to our next thing, which is the market. Okay. So this is again, for those of you that really care about this data, this is again, a good way for you to see the difference between last week and this week based on the last 30 days. So I think Eric said what he noticed most in this was the closings. Yeah. So the 169 closed. versus 124 last week. Now keep in mind, I think we have the dates here. Yeah, the Fed is supposed to meet again on September 17th and 18th. So we're all crossing our fingers that we get some good news and that the interest rates may have a price drop here soon, not price drop, an interest rate drop here very soon. Very curious to see how that affects these numbers moving forward. So yeah, for sure. Kim says, my baby got married last week and still can't believe it. I know, time just goes way too fast, way too fast. All right, so yeah, so that was the market part of it. Now I will say from our perspective, like what we're seeing, like real, like boots on the ground, I've seen some showings pick up for a few of the listings. It's still slow going. I know that there's one of my listings out here in Horizon West. There's like 3 houses in the same neighborhood, and that realtor reached out and said, hey, we're thinking of doing like a combined, brokers open. Would you want to join in so that we can, again, kind of maximize that foot traffic? So we're doing that. We'll be doing that on Wednesday. I have my own thoughts about broker opens. If you don't know what that is, a broker's open is, instead of an open house where just buyers can walk in off the street, a broker's open is for those real estate professionals to kind of come in, tour the home, preview the home. Maybe they've got clients that'll, be interested in the home. A lot of times people do like, wine and cheese, like they'll try to do like giveaways and things like that. And I think it's a great option. I really do. I think any strategic marketing avenue that we can explore is worthwhile. But for these listings that are like at $1 million, I have my own experience and thoughts on that, which is most real estate professionals that already have a buyer that's at that price point or that is active in the market doesn't have time to go to brokers opens. They're busy working for their clients and doing their thing. But that's just my personal opinion. And maybe I take that way too much at heart. Maybe there's a lot of realtors that just love those brokers opens, but we are going to do one because it's another avenue, and we'll see what happens. And I will say, being combined with a couple of other houses in the community, and the reason is nobody's getting any foot traffic, and that's why we're kind of combining that. So anyway, speaking of listings, let's do a quick overview of them. What do you think? Let's do that. So our listings, here we go. So current listings, yeah. So we took Diamond Cove off. Good. So the Lakeview 1-story, again, this one is absolutely gorgeous. So this is that Ashby floor plan. And Ron and Rosemary, I don't know if you're here right now, but I have a client right now, and I'm so frustrated because they are building in Ashby, and they're building it out in Montverde, but out in Willow Ridge. But I sent them the video tour of the home. I gave them all the information. I'm like, here, why don't you come see this home? But she just wanted to be able to pick and choose everything herself, which is fair. But this is a beautiful home, this beautiful Ashby floor plan. It's a very large 1-story floor plan. One of my favorites, big, huge island. You have this beautiful view out to the backyard. Really lovely. The Dual Master Lafayette. This one is located in Horizon West. In Winter Garden, this is in Watermark, the community of Watermark. So this is a corner home site. So this one, again, is really nice. And it really is a true dual master in the sense that it's not like there's just an ensuite and then the primary bedroom. It's like 2 legit, full-fledged 2 primary bedrooms. Very large, big bathrooms, the whole kit and caboodle. Also 2 laundry rooms. So it's a really nice, big, beautiful floor plan. Out in Tallahassee and Howie in the Hills, another big, gorgeous home, lots of square footage. Lots and lots of bedrooms, lots of opportunity for you to have multi-generational living in that home as well. Out in Groveland, we have a beautiful 1-story priced at $399. It is priced so incredibly well. It is driving me nuts that sometimes, these homes that are priced so well and there's nothing wrong with the home, like everything is great and it still sits there. And here's part of it. There's new construction kind of happening around it. So when there's other opportunities of new construction, and those builders have deeper pockets than the sellers do sometimes. And so when a builder can offer a $15,000, $17,000, $20,000 closing cost contribution, and you get $15,000 at the design center, it's really hard for a buyer to turn that away when they need help with that, given the current interest rate issues. So, that's kind of one of the reasons we're fighting with those builders. Not fighting with them, but we're competing with them. We also have this beautiful townhome out in Davenport. What's really nice about this one is that it is 4-bedroom, and there is a bedroom on the first floor with a full bath. And then, of course, we have that beautiful investment property with a pool. And I say investment property, but it does not have to be an investment property. Remember, just because it is zoned short-term rental does not mean that you have to utilize it as such. You can use it as your primary residence. But that one is still available as well. We did have the Dr. Phillips home is under contract. That one's ready to close. And then we have a few buyers. And then we have this one. This is the beautiful one that we have out in Wincy Groves. Also here in Horizon West. This is by Dream Finders. This is the Arlington with the super bonus. This is the one that had the bar. Remember the day that we did coffee time from that bar? This home is actually there's cross your fingers for it. There is somebody that seemed to be pretty interested. They flew back home and are kind of reviewing, and hopefully we'll get some good news on that one very soon. Okay, perfect. All right, so interesting. Okay, so I'm just looking at a couple of my questions here. Anyway, so those are the listings. If you have any interest in those, as always, to give me a call at 407-848-8042. If you have any friends that might be interested, let me know. We have video tours of I think of all those houses. So we can certainly share those with you or with friends or family if you happen to be interested. Okay, so then let's move on. I think there was another question. And Eric, I'll let you take this one if you want. You want to. Just to give me a break because I'm about to cough again. Okay. All right, Mrs. Florida Man. Kathleen, how does a buyer's agreement work with an open house? That really is a fantastic question. I really am going to choke, so I'm going to let Eric.
Okay. Mute your mic for a second.
Sorry.
I'll sort of half mute your mic. So with an open house, you have to, if you are as an agent, if you are representing a buyer, you have to have a buyer-broker agreement in place. So for the buyer, you can go to whatever open houses you want. If you have representation, if you already signed something with somebody, then that's your agent. If they're not with you, then you just tell the person when you go in, I have an agent. Totally fine, no big deal. The agent at the open house represents the seller. Different agents are going to do it different ways. And they may say, when you come in, if you don't have an agent, I'm happy to show you this house, but you have to sign a buyer-broker agreement with me. We're not going to do that because we feel like you just met somebody that day, But the rules are that if you represent the seller, you can show them the house at an open house as long as it's clear you represent the seller. So buyers, if you're out looking at open houses, that's fine. You can then sign up for a dual agency thing with that listing agent if you want to. Or you can say, well, I have my own agent and I'm going to have them contact you or whatever. So it's kind of vague right now with open houses, but you don't have to have a buyer-broker agreement to go to an open house. And the listing agent, as long as you understand they represent the seller, then you're okay. That was a lot of jumbled words, which shows you that it's really it's still kind of confusing. It's
candidly, this whole thing has just made it all a hot mess, to be honest. It's just a lot of, craziness, to be honest. Real quick, Kim said that she just sent Amy a couple of wedding pictures because they're so cute, which she did. I'm not going to show all of them, but I will share with you that one. Isn't that beautiful?
Yay.
Beautiful.
Nice. Wow, that is beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful? I won't show all of them because, we want to be a little bit private. That rainbow, oh my gosh, the rainbow was amazing behind the other ones. But congrats, Kim. How beautiful. Lovely wedding. We're glad you're back safe and sound. I think you're back home. But yeah, so I actually was watching something popped up, and it was a realtor talking about these rules. And as I know what it was. She was a broker talking to her people, right? Her agents, about not calling and asking the listing agent ahead of time if the seller is open to a buyer agent concession and what that number would be. Because how did she say it? Basically, she said something that was completely not right. I'm like, well, but it does matter, because if you've agreed on a specific amount with your buyer and you're trying to not have your buyer be responsible for the commission, you would like to know what you need to submit in the offer and how that might affect your buyer. It is a hot mess, guys. But at any rate,
just one thing.
Yeah.
It's a hot mess, yeah. But it's only a hot mess for agents that haven't always been transparent.
Well, correct. 100%.
So much of all the, and you all may not hear all the noise that we hear from agents, but it's like, but I don't want to tell my buyer that I'm getting X commission. Well, you should tell them. It's their business. So we've always been very upfront about, well, here's what they're offering for commission, whatever. So for us, it's not a big deal because we're like, okay, yeah, we're always going to tell you what the situation is because it's your deal. It's not our deal. It's your deal.
Yeah.
We don't steer people. So it's like, so much of it is like, they did it wrong. It's a mess because they tried to like thread the needle on some stuff. If they'd have just said, you have to be completely transparent about what it is, have the conversations up front, then it would be fine. But they didn't do that. So now a lot of agents that are, I don't know, they don't feel like they provide the value that they're getting or something. I don't know. They're all trying to like figure out ways to work around. It's like, just tell your buyer what the commission is and
if
let
it's not
them make
coming out of
decisions.
their pocket,
Yeah.
then they don't, I've never had anybody, we go again. Never had anybody squabble at what the commission was, especially in what it wasn't a commission that they were paying. Like if a seller, it's one thing, right? Because that's going into the marketing fund. But like from the buyer agent's perspective, which is part of this, right? It's like no one's ever questioned it or cared. And obviously in a new construction purchase agreement, it's listed right there. So at any rate, again, it's fine. It's additional paperwork. It's additional chaos, but it's additional just frustration that candidly we as realtors feel like we shouldn't have to be dealing with right now. And then maybe I'm a little extra touchy with it because I have other things that are more important than some of these other little crazy little nuanced details. But that being said, let's move on to our next topic, which is what I'm watching because this was so good. Okay, so I just finished this. I will tell you, because I've been sleeping up here, I don't sleep as well up here. I sleep okay, but there's a difference between sleeping in a recliner and there is, sleeping in the bed. But I've been like watching TV, and now that we're on like the big TV, it's kind of like fun, right? So I'm having my own little movie marathons. But I just finished watching this on Netflix called The Perfect Couple. It's Nicole Kidman in it, and just finished the last episode last night. It was really good. Definitely worth the watch. I think it was like 8 or 9 episodes, so it wasn't too bad. Wasn't too long. It wasn't like 25 seasons. But it was really good. It was kind of a little murder mystery-ish type fun thing. So if you're looking for something to watch, that's a fun one. I don't even know what I'm watching right now. I don't know because I just.
I bet your mother was.
Yeah, well, that's at night when I go to sleep. So I'm one of those people that I have to sleep with the TV on. And I know there's other people that are like, nope, absolutely not having a TV even in that primary bedroom at all. I've just always been a person that needs the TV on. I have to have it low. But so at night, then I put it on something like Seinfeld, like where it's just like, it just runs all day, or I put it on like TV Land or something where it's just shows all night. But anyway, yeah. So, but now the problem is How I Met Your Mother. It's what I've been putting on every night when I go to sleep, just for the background noise. Obviously watched it when it was on TV. But now we are, I'm on the last season. So it's like the last couple of episodes. And what's funny is I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so interested to see these last couple episodes. So instead of just letting it play aimlessly in the back, I'll probably finish that season up later. But anyway, okay. Did I get everything, honey?
Secret.
Oh, secret. Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, I actually have 2 things. So let's go to the secret because this is really fun. You're going to love this. Hold on. Where's secret? Okay, so we talked about this last week, same graphic as last week. We haven't changed anything graphic-wise, but we did have our meeting with Trinity Family Builders, and I am so excited. We have a game plan now. We know what we're going to do, and we are going to build not 1, not 2, but 3 houses. And I say build, and I'm going to use that term loosely. I love that. Very good. Trinity Family Builders got this cute little tchotchke here, little Trinity Family Builders, and got my little Trinity Family Builders special mug here with my name on it. So we are going to be doing 3 different new construction home buying scenarios. And you're going to, if you decide to watch, you can follow along with us as to how each of those processes will work. One of them will be new construction inventory, where everything has already been picked and chosen, and how that process works. Then we're going to be building another home where the builder has already chosen the floor plan and the structural options on a specific home site. So I can't change that, but I do get to go to the design center and pick and choose and take the process from there. And then the third scenario is actually building from dirt. So we do the entire process from the initial contract, picking a lot, picking a floor plan, picking the structurals, all of that fun stuff, all the way through to the end of the process. So 3 different, hence Trinity Family Builders. We are going to do 3 different experiences and share all of that with you as best we can to help give you some understanding of how it works, which I think honestly is very timely. Out with clients over the weekend, and we were looking at specifically inventory homes, and one of the inventory homes has not broken ground yet, and so the agent with the builder said, and you can still go to the design center. So I was trying to explain how that works. It's like, but you can't change anything structurally, but you get to go to the design center. That's kind of like the unicorn. That's like perfect. You still get new construction. You get to pick what you want, but it goes a little bit faster because there's some choices that you don't get to make. So anyway, I hope you guys are excited about that. I know our friend Jen said, Amy's going to do HGTV or something. Yeah. It's like, no. It's not HGTV. It's just me. But we're going to do this, and we're going to have to figure this out with Eric's health schedule, but we are going to get this done. It's going to be fun. Now, I will say the first one's going to start very soon because that home should be completed the end of this month or the early in October. So that video is going to be coming pretty soon. That's going to be kind of the kickoff of our little series here. So hopefully you guys can join us for that. That'll be super fun. Anything else, dear? Is there anything else? We didn't do weather, but no, I didn't.
Oh,
no, I didn't. We're back to our fall weather. Eric had put up our little weather update. So this is what fall looks like in Florida, folks. We have, pretty much in the 80s. Humidity dips just a little bit, although yesterday it was pretty freaking hot. But you see the late afternoon thunderstorms. But this is what our fall looks like here in Florida. And before we go, I have to give a shout out who his name is Angel. If you live here in this area, and you like to get your car detailed, but you need people to come to you, I'm just going to say this because this kid randomly, a couple years ago, found somebody online. The guy came to our house. I say kid. Everybody's a kid when you're older, right? But he's not. He's a grown man. But he's a younger grown man. And came out, detailed the car. It was fantastic. Called him back. He did my son's car. He did all of our different cars. I had him out here yesterday, and he did our car. And then, of course, started raining at the very end. He's like, do you want us to come back tomorrow? We'll drive back off again. I'm like, no, you're fine. But I just want to tell you, it is so rare to find people who are so motivated and so conscientious of their work to a really finite detail. Like they're very, very, they very much care about what they're doing. The cars look amazing. They're amazing. They're so respectful, so polite. So if you have any interest in having your car detailed in this area, text me and I will give you his number because I really appreciate them taking really good care of us all the time. So anyway, all right. Is there anything else fun? Did I miss any? I think we're good. Did I miss any questions? I don't think I did. Hold on. Tracy says, will these be a different series of videos or part of Coffee Time? These will be separate videos, Tracy. We'll probably talk about them on Coffee Time for sure. We may even show clips of them on Coffee Time, but this will be like just our regular YouTube channel, typical like home tours. It'll be a series that way. Kind of like when we built our pool and we took you through that process. And then we also took you through the process of the big wall treatment, the fireplace and all that along those lines so that people can follow along and see how those homes work. All right. Oh, Daryl says, look at our best bud. Daryl says, good morning. We love you. We love you too, Daryl. And Jen, there's his beautiful wife, Jen. Hello, Jen. I just talked about you. So yes, Daryl and Jen, I will tell you, that beautiful plant, by the way, that you brought us. Did I ever thank you for that? My phone was being wonky when I got it. But anyway, thank you for that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful plant. So we are going to finish up here our coffee time. My coffee is mostly gone, but I need to reheat it now because I'm not going to waste any of that gingerbread creamer that I can now eat safely or drink safely because it was not opened at the grocery store. All right, guys. So as always, where are we? As always, please stay safe, stay well. Remember, we love you. We appreciate you so much. We cannot wait to see you again next Monday. We are going to keep you in the loop and follow us along all of the other social media platforms. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy our little Monday morning coffee chats. All right, guys. We love you guys. Have a great day. Have a great week. We love you. Bye.